As I've stated before, as one who grew up a block away from a big shopping mall in Des Moines, Iowa, and also his wife worked at JCPenney for a time when I was in college, Mary and I know full well, for a fact, beyond all doubt, that JCPenney always ended with EY on the end. There was never an apostrophe S on the end, but guess what? We'd still refer to it as pennies, even without the apostrophe S. Just like people do with Chuck E. Cheese, may I say. Our 5 children grew up in the 80s and 90s, and Mary and I spent many birthdays at Chuck E. Cheese Pizza, having to watch those stupid big mechanical animal characters perform on stage while we ate our pizza and our birthday cake before retiring to the arcade to waste more money there. And we know full well there was never an apostrophe S at the end of Chuck E. Cheese. And we know full well there was never an apostrophe S at the end of Chuck E. Cheese. But just like referring to JCPenney department store as pennies, we might call it Chuck E. Cheese as in, normal conversation. And so then the Mandelites get all bent out of shape and say, see, that's a residual effect left over from the Mandela effect. Because there used to be an apostrophe S on the end. It's a bunch of hogwash. It's just ridiculous. Hundreds of examples such as these, given in hundreds of YouTube videos. I point out that, every company that markets products out there has every right to change their logo whenever they want. That said, I believe that most of the alleged changes that fill these hundreds of YouTube videos are simply made-up clickbait concocted by imaginative Mandelite YouTubers trying to make money from their monetized YouTube channels, just like Kerwin is doing with his. Always claiming that these are, in fact, changes in reality resulting from the alleged New Age paradigm shift that is still today referred to as the Mandela effect. The immediate purpose of this message is to expose, to refute, and to sound a warning against the lies, the heresies, and the outright fraud of a YouTube charlatan named John Kerwin, who promotes what is on one hand, for those of us who know our Bibles, one of the most ridiculous of recent popular deceptions. But on the other hand, to those who have been taken in by this deception, it's one of the most insidious and diabolical, I think, of all satanic mass delusions of our day. That being the misguided belief that the devil in our day has been allowed by God to supernaturally change the text of God's Word, the Bible, through an alleged phenomenon that has been labeled the Mandela effect, and for which, in order to project a facade of credibility and scholarship behind his efforts to sell this deception and build a profitable business from it, actually, via his monetized YouTube channel, dubbed Wake Up or Else, Mr. Kerwin fraudulently passes himself off as a former pastor, claiming that he served under the well-known New York City pastor and evangelist David Wilkerson for a time. Kerwin is just one of many who is making the same attack against the King James Bible. And so we all need to know how to react, not only when we are confronted with the lies and heresies of those in the Mandelite cult, but also how to react when we run across verses in the Bible ourselves that cause us confusion or concern about the text. The main lesson in the message for today is this, as we've stated before. Whenever you think the King James Bible is wrong, it's because you are wrong. It's because you are wrong. It's because you are wrong. All I can do at this point is to bring this expose to refute and sound a warning against this servant of the devil, John Kerwin, and his lies and his blasphemous heresies. And hopefully in taking time once more to address and to refute the very devious and deceptive arguments that Kerwin raises along with others in this cult, an attempt to prove that the Bible has been and is being changed via this alleged phenomenon, we'll be able to prevent others out there, hopefully, from having their faith shipwrecked by this particular charlatan and the poison he's peddling for filthy lucre's sake. The Mandela effect is primarily a YouTube internet craze promoted initially by anti-Christian New Agers who, in desperately looking for a dramatic shift of reality and a shift of consciousness as mankind allegedly passes into their so-called New Age, claim that through this New Age paradigm or reality shift over the past decade and a half, Many of the familiar elements of our perceived existence and even our history, including names, words, and historical events, have been or are being altered and are strangely not the same as they used to be, or so they claim.